During our last session, we introduced you to the balance sheet. And the idea here is to have you be able to understand how to analyze, synthesize, and evaluate what your business vital signs are sending you. The assets, the liabilities, and owner's equity are part of your corporation, whereas the revenue and expenses really reflected on the income statement. We don't speak much to the statement of cash flow, which identifies operating, investing, and financing activities and how money flows in and out of your business. Money only flows two ways. So our goal here is to teach you and simplify how to analyze and synthesize your business. So from a restaurateur's point of view, assets, anything of value, plant, property, and equipment. How do we manage those assets as a CEO? Liabilities, companies, things that we owe. And again, what's the relationship or ratio between assets and liabilities? And there's both current and long-term assets and liabilities. We'll speak to that a little later. And then owner's equity. The owner's rights to those assets. Assets minus liabilities gives you owner's equity. So as we begin to move forward with understanding the flow of what we do and how we do it from a food service point of view, I like to stay with the balance sheet and walk you through our first session and when we said we were going to invest in a restaurant. As an investor, we want to make educated decisions. We want to make sure that we're maximizing our return on investment. Many people get too emotionally involved in opening restaurants because of the passion for food or the drive to be a restaurateur. At the end of the day, we want to look at this as if we were going to make any other type of investment. We want to monitor what we do and how we do it. So let's look at the flow. Here we have asset cash. And we sat down, we talked about a concept, so now we need to take the asset cash and invest it in asset equipment, ovens, grills, deep fryers, walk-in refrigerators. These assets are the tools that we're going to utilize to get our initial investment back plus a return on that investment. So it is important that we understand how to manage that. Asset cash. So once I have the equipment in my restaurant, it's all nice and new and shiny. We get excited about shiny restaurant equipment. It's stainless steel, kitchen's beautiful, dining room's beautiful, chairs, tables, china, glass, silverware, all of those components are now in place from an equipment point of view. So now my next step is to do what? Take asset cash and invest in employees, HR, human resources. I need to train my cooks, my prep cooks. I need to train my servers, my bussers, my bartenders, my hosts, right? So we're going to take some again, that asset cash and invest in our employees so that they're thoroughly trained. When our customers come through the door, our guests come through the door, we can be extremely hospitable and provide professional service to them. Have I spent money? No. I'm looking at it as if what I've invested this month from one asset to another. Although employees are not reflected on our balance sheet, they are truly our most valuable asset. The next thing that I need to do in terms of the flow of how I'm making my CEO decisions about the cash that I have is now I need to actually buy inventory. And inventory really spells it all out for us because in essence, what we do in a restaurant is we buy wholesale and we sell retail. So an example of that would be I buy 1 case of Heineken beer, 24 bottles. Bought a case, it probably cost me around $33. I sell it for $6, depending on what market you're in. We're in New York City, so you pretty much pay $6 or $7 for a beer. So the asset inventory is an investment that I've made. So when I look at my income statement and my sales analysis, either show me my Heineken that I haven't sold, that is still in my inventory, that's still an asset, or show me the revenue that the Heineken generated. So it cost me $1.33 a bottle. I sell it for $6 a bottle. The difference between the cost and the selling price is what we call the contribution margin. Now, some people will tell you that that is profit. I, the restaurant scientist, will tell you that it is not profit. It is contribution margin, and it only becomes profit after I've sold X amount of cases throughout the year, because there's 52 weeks in a year, right? And every week I'm expecting to get X amount of return on the inventory that I have. So hopefully by week 40 or sooner, I've hit some level of a break-even point and begin to roll over to the next level of what we call profitability. So my next slide will explain that to you, right? So this is the flow of what we do. Many small operators are going to, restaurant depots and BJ's and Costco to get, wholesale food directly, but they're truly not taking advantage of the leverage that they have, because in essence, my chicken provider will give me chicken, and I'll sign an invoice when it comes to my back door, and he'll say what? Pay me in 14 days. Well, that's a good relationship for me, because I've only purchased enough chicken to sell within 7 days. I've only purchased enough produce to sell within the next 3 to 4 days. I've only purchased enough shrimp and salmon and snapper to sell within the next 3 to 4 days. So in essence, they're fronting me the product wholesale. I'm selling it retail, right? Salmon costs me $6.99 a pound. I sell a salmon entree at an 8-ounce portion with protein, starch, and vegetables on the same plate for $25. There's a difference of $10 to $15 there, the contribution margin, right? The difference between the selling price and the cost. I put back into the bank, then I begin to pay other expenses, other operating expenses, gas bill, light bill, water bill, things of that nature. So it's important that we truly understand from a CEO point of view what it is we do, and more importantly, how do we analyze, synthesize, and evaluate what we do and how we do it. What are those vital signs that we spoke about to you in the first session, the vital signs that our business is telling us will manifest themselves in what I call here the science of break-even, because break-even is not the goal. The goal is to maximize profits. When we have a snowstorm or a hurricane or any other type of Mother Nature event that may affect our sales, we're coming into what we expect to be a busy weekend, but a snowstorm is approaching and sales are lower. I'm not going to get that weekend back. There's only 52 weekends. Congress is not going to pass another 53rd week so that I can hit my break-even point. So it's important that we understand how to monitor these ratios. So what's the relationship between sales, fixed costs, and variable costs? We truly only make money off fixed costs, because that's the one cost that ultimately goes away. Variable costs, they're always going to be here, because in order for me to sell more chicken, I have to buy more chicken. In order for me to have to sell more Heineken, I have to buy more Heineken. But what's the relationship? So I need to be able to monitor not only the dollar value, but also the absolute value. The absolute value as well as the relative value, the percentage value, which is what you see here. So if I start with $1, right, 100 pennies in every dollar, if 40 cents goes towards my variable cost, 60 cents is going to go to my fixed cost. Sales goes up, fixed costs remain the same. Sales comes down, fixed costs remain the same. Sales goes up, variable costs are going to go up because I need to buy more product to sell more product. But that's from an absolute dollar value point of view. The relative percentage should stay the same. And as a CEO of my company, I should know that. And I should know that for every item on my menu, because there's only 100 pennies in every dollar. So it's extremely important that I know where those pennies are going. If 45 pennies are going towards fixed costs, 55 pennies are going towards variable costs. Okay? So again, as we go through each one of these sessions, we will continue to explain and educate you on the science of maximizing profits through restaurant operations.